Definitely awareness spreading is something that's very important in all issues concerning to women empowerment and also violence against women. Now, talking about some of the key stakeholders in this, now you mentioned a bit about the policymakers as well, how they also can maybe contribute to this on providing a structure that will enable people to implement this more easily.
I mean, we do have quite a lot of good practices happening in various parts of the country. We have some very good people who are involved in promoting these issues, but there's a need to really understand how, I think even for policymakers, once again it's about understanding how it is a very personal issue, and how there is a need to really recognize women as a very important person, in the sense a person who has so much impact on the family, on attitudes, on behaviors, and women themselves also who are in these policy making roles have to also be more sensitized to the issues, and it's about creating more uniformity in access to services. I mean, you have gender-based violence desks in various hospitals that have been set up. I mean, if those could be wider spread, if even in maternal care clinics, if where a lot of men participate, if there's more access to all this information and knowledge, if it can be provided when men are waiting, and most importantly, if women understand and appreciate, if policymakers can help that process of women also understanding how they need to be part of this process, because various studies have actually shown how, some women actually do have attitudes where they believe it's okay to be beaten, or it's okay to play a very minor role in the family unit. So policymakers obviously do have a huge role in creating the environment and creating the laws and the procedures and the practices, and engaging with the key implementers and stakeholders in communities, in society, to take things forward positively.
Okay, and definitely very important thoughts by Kamari Jiridasa. Unfortunately, we have to wrap up for now, because as much as this is a very important topic, and as you mentioned, everyone needs to take an active step and an active role in this, not just women but then men as well, and male engagement is one of the key important factors, because at the end of the day it's your sister or your mother. It can always you can relate it to it in that sense. So thanks a lot, Kamari, for joining with Good Morning Sri Lanka. It was great having you on the show. Now folks, we will be back shortly, and coming your way is a Guinness World Record, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Good Morning Sri Lanka on MTV Sports. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we have some interesting guests in the studio. Now, we are moving into the lovely game of Scrabble, and taking a look at history. Now, in 2002, there were two British people who created the Guinness World Record in Scrabble under the category of most number of points in 24 hours. Now, in July of this year, two Australians managed to beat that record, and it's still being processed, and we think that was the latest Guinness World Record. But guess what, folks? Because on Sunday, two Sri Lankans just outdid all of them and created a new Guinness World Record that is still being processed by Guinness and into consideration. So let's say hello and say welcome to Yeshan Jayasuriya and Lakshan Wanyarachi. Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Good morning, and congratulations on your great achievement. As Sri Lankans, we're all proud to be, in the studio with two Guinness World Record holders. Now, Lakshan, if you'd just like to start off with how you got into the game of Scrabble, really.
Yeah, I got into Scrabble while I was in school. My best friend introduced me to the Scrabble club at St. Thomas's College, and there we started, and I found that I had a knack for words. And that got the ball rolling, and I joined the Sri Lanka Scrabble League, where I improved my skills, and here I am.
So there we go. Yeshan, you're still in school, and how did you get involved in Scrabble? And I believe that you all really met through the Sri Lanka Scrabble League as well.
Yeah, actually I also initially joined because there was a Scrabble tournament in school, and a teacher wanted me to play that.
Okay.
One of my mother's uncles, actually, his name is Mr. Shirley De Silva. He played Scrabble at Sri Lanka Scrabble League, and he taught me all the basics I needed to know, and got me to join Scrabble League, and that's how I met all good players such as Lakshan and improved.
Exactly, and for those of us who might not really be familiar with the game of Scrabble, Lakshan, if you'd just like to briefly take a couple of minutes in explaining what exactly the game of Scrabble is and how the point system actually works.
Yeah, Scrabble is a word game in English, played on a board of 15 by 15, and there are letters that are distributed depending on the letter distribution in the English language.
And I think you have the Scrabble board there with you as well, if you'd just like to hold it up.
This would be a Scrabble board, and there are letters which Yashan will just show. So the letters are distributed.
I think you can just hold it up to the camera for us few more seconds as well.
The letters are distributed according to the letter distribution in the English language. For example, there are more A's and E's which are widely used as opposed to Q and Z, where there are only one letter each. And there are points given for each letter, and the points depend on the letters that are available more get lesser points, whereas the letters that are few in number get higher points. And the idea is to there are 100 letters, and both players take randomly from a bag without looking, and the idea is to make words with the most number of points, and at the end of the game the one with the higher number of points win.
And also, talking about the game of Scrabble, and what exactly really promoted you to get in touch and be partners for the two of you all? Where did you all really meet, and what made you all think that you all would be the two who would go on to break a Guinness World Record?
Well, it was mainly Yashan's idea, first of all, to try this. And we have complementing styles. Yashan is a very fast player, and I'm generally on the slower side, but I have the vocabulary to find the words. So within the two of us, we thought that we would be able to match the Australian pair. And actually, where we outdid them was more on organizing the thing and ensuring that the support system worked 100%, as opposed to us being better Scrabble players than them.
And Yashan, in thinking about the Guinness World Record and thinking that you could actually beat it, what gave you the confidence to really take up this challenge?
Well, actually, when we decided to take it up, we didn't really know whether we would break it or not. But as we did trial runs and all, we realized that our average for an hour was much more than we needed to do it. So then we just thought that, might as well give it a try, because according to the average, we would probably break it.
And at 17 years of age, how has Scrabble really helped in your academics and your vocabulary and the development of it?
Well, actually, to play Scrabble, you obviously need to know words, and that helps in English and even in English Lit. And you have to study those words, so the practice of studying also comes, so it's easier to study for exams and all. And strategy, Scrabble strategy is very useful, because strategy is important in life, whatever you do, to be street smart and all.
So there we go. That's 17 years old and already breaking a Guinness World Record. Now Lakshan, coming back to the specific 24 hours that you all just went at a stretch. If you'd just like to mention some of the fond memories you all had on Sunday, going at it for 24 hours. Did you all? I guess you all didn't sleep at all, but then did you all even take a few breaks in the middle?
Yeah, every couple of hours we took a break to go to the washroom and stuff like that. But yeah, it was fast paced, and there was a support team that we had which took care of everything, and we didn't have to look at all about the logistics. And there were people who were taking time to feed us and give us liquids, especially because liquids were very important, because we were in a high intense environment, and there was a likelihood of us being dehydrated. So we were given all kinds of liquids at intervals. and towards the latter part of the 24 hours we felt the fatigue setting in. Yashan was getting a bit of a headache also, but we once we knew that the record were within touching range, it got us going again, and the last couple of hours we didn't feel it at all.
And your final score tally and the difference of the scores between the previous one, I believe, is about 200,000, if I'm not mistaken, 20,000 rather.
20,000. Yeah, the previous record that the Australians had was 170,000, and we bettered it by about 26,000. So we are at 196,000.
So do you think that, Yashan, you could probably comment on this as a young Scrabbler. Do you think that in the future there might be people who would come and break this record?
Definitely, I mean, records are meant to be broken, and I mean, we found when the 170,000 was set, people thought that that would be the final and it can't be beaten anymore, but we broke it by such a margin that it can be actually broken. And the last game we played in about 3.5 minutes, which is almost twice as fast as the other games.
Okay.
So that shows that there is potential for it to be broken again, but keeping up that kind of speed is probably not very practical also.
And also I understand that it's today that you're actually documenting the entire process, and of course we know that when it comes to Guinness World Records there's a very strict process of documentation and also counter checks whether this has been accurate. So what have you all really, from your part, what have you all done to ensure that Guinness will actually accept this and that the proper documentation has been done?
Yeah, before we started, we corresponded with Guinness and got all the requirements that they would have. And there are two options that we have. One is to have one of their representatives at the site, and the other is to make an evidence package. The first one is quite costly, so we decided to do away with that, and we are in the process of preparing the evidence package, which includes all 24 hours video recorded, a highlights package including the start, the end, the time that we broke the record, and any significant event in between, and witnesses' statements. And we had 4 or 5 witnesses who were there in shifts covering the entire 24 hours. So within all those, we have met the guidelines that were given by Guinness. So we believe that once we send it to Guinness, it will be their normal time processing, and possibly within 1.5 to 2 months we should be able to get a feedback from them in the positive.
So there we go. That was a little bit of a chat with 2 of the Guinness World Record breakers, but we'll continue our discussion with them right after this short commercial break.